Hello everybody, how are y'all doing today? Once again, I am Marie with Aunt Ree's Quilt Shop. Today we are talking about sorting and storing your fabric. If you're anything like me or most quilters, you have a ton of fabric, and the more organized it is, the easier it is to find what you need when you need it. So once again, this is one of those figure out what works for you. On the last video, I suggested you look up Cass with Clutterbug, and she gives you some, kind of tells you what organizing style works best with how your brain works. And so these are just some suggestions. A lot of them are things that I use either in my business or in my personal stash. Like I said on the last video, I kind of store things a little bit differently. My business stuff, my stuff that's for sale on my website is stored quite a bit differently than my personal things. Some of them are the same, but they have different purposes. And so what works for my personal stash doesn't always work for me being able to pull it off the shelf, load it in a tub, and take it to a show. So I'm going to give you some different ideas. Figure out what works for you. And if you have more suggestions, feel free to post them in the comments. Don't forget that to be notified when I release a new video, you need to hit the subscribe button. Sorry. And so hit like, comments, all of those things help me reach more people. And hopefully we can get this information out to more people and help more people get their stuff under control. Now, a lot of these ideas will work not just for your sewing things. If you are an artist, or if you, even things like your kitchen and things like that. So these tips are kind of universal in a lot of ways. I am speaking specific to your fabric stash, but you can take these things and apply them somewhere else if you want to. So first we're going to start off with kits. You know, you go into a shop and you buy a kit, and it usually gets put on the shelf for a little while until you actually get to it. A lot of the times they come in a bag. My suggestion is leave them in the bag. If you're worried about, if you live in a very humid area or you're worried about it, you can open the bag so that some airflow does get in. But honestly, I've never had an issue. I live in Texas. It's pretty humid most of the time. I've never had an issue. If you keep your house warmer, like 80 degrees or above, you might worry about it a little bit more. But a lot of the times they come in these project bags or a plastic bag. If you're worried about the humidity, you can always just open your bag and then store it open so that it does get some airflow, and it does kind of help regulate that just a little bit, so it's not completely closed up. Sorry guys. So this is a kit that I bought a while back. I leave my kits all together, especially if I have not touched them. I don't take them out of the bag. I just put them on the shelf. I have a place that all of my kits go. So another tip, if you're trying to get your projects done and you have a bunch of UFOs, because who doesn't? You can, a friend of mine, another shop owner, her mom had this trick that she put everything in brown paper bags. Each project was in a brown paper bag, and she numbered them. And for fun, she had a goal to finish all of her UFOs. And so she would have one of the grandkids pick a number. And that was the kit. She didn't know what was in the bag. They picked a number. She went and took that bag off of the shelf, and that was the project she worked on until it was finished. So that's just a fun little game that you can play if you want to have your kids, have your grandkids. If you want to do that, that's fun. So like I said, I leave these in the bag. These bags are great if you can get them. I have some bags that are very similar. You can still see what's in them. These are on the website at Aunt Ree's Quilt Shop. I have a couple of different sizes, and I'm working on getting some more sizes. I have some other projects that have some little pieces that have some tools, some crayons, that kind of thing. And I've got some even smaller ones that I ordered to put those supplies in to kind of keep them organized and keep them separate. But I can throw them all in a bigger bag. So this is a great way to, if you're going to retreat. This bag here is a 13 by 13. It will actually fit a full layer cake. So if you're working on in fact, my sewing machine bag, my travel machine, in case I need to grab my bag and go out of town to help family members or something, I can take a project with me. I leave a project in this bag in my rolling bag that has my machine in it. But see, this fits in there just perfect. You can see through the bag what's in there, but I have a whole project in one of these bags and it's just sitting in there. It's not going to get damaged. It's not going to get wet. It's not going to get crushed. Anything like that. I have my sewing machine. I have all of my basic sewing supplies. So if I have to go out of town to help a family member or something like that, I can literally grab that bag, take it with me. And when I get there in the hotel or at a family member's home or whatever, I have a project I can work on if I have time and I want to. So this is just a really good idea to have some grab and go projects. And even as you're working on them, they can go back in this bag and everything stays contained. And that can just kind of be your travel project or whatever you want to do. Like I said, I have a couple of different sizes available on the website, and you can get them there at AuntReeseQuiltShop.com. So like I said, we're going to start with this. And even after you have started a project, I started this on a retreat one time a while back. I need to finish it. But I did get some cutting and a little bit of sewing done. I put everything back in this bag and it keeps it all contained. I know where all the pieces are. When I get ready to work on it again, I can grab the bag. Same kind of concept as my travel project, but it's protected. It's all together. It's not getting damaged. The fabric is not fraying because it's being handled or shuffled or moved. Everything is in here and protected. So if you don't have the project bags, another option is just Ziploc bags. These are not as durable, but they do work in a pinch. I use these a lot for sorting. When I finish, this is a leftovers from a project, and you can see I made a baby quilt a few years ago for my nephew, and these are the leftovers. It was an Eric Carle kit that I bought. This is all the fabric that I had left over. So all of this is Eric Carle fabric. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's still good. A lot of these are still in print. They print them over and over and over, and they'll add something and just to kind of keep the collection fresh. But this still is a viable, still is a current collection. So a lot of times when I'm sorting my fabric, I'll keep everything from a project leftovers together. Depending on what size project it is, determines what size container I need. There are tons of ways that you can sort your fabric. You can sort it by color. You can sort it by style. Okay, these are geometrics. These are florals. These are my blenders. You can keep a whole line together. Say if you like Moda marbles, you want to keep all of those Moda marbles together. Grunge, I keep most of my grunge in one spot. And when I'm working on something and I need a blender, I'll go to the grunge and see if I have the right color. If not, I'll go to the next blender collection and see if I have the right color. That kind of thing. That's kind of how I organize. I'll organize blenders. And they're usually bigger pieces. You can organize things by color if you want to organize it by color. You can organize it however you want to organize it. Comment below, put in the comments how you like to organize your fabric because it may help somebody else. I keep all my pre-cuts together. I keep all of my, like I said, I usually keep a collection together. I usually keep like all of my grunge, all of my, I love the Andover linen fabrics. I have a whole stack of those. So, it just depends on, some people organize by color, blend, style. And you can do a mixture of it. You can have all your grunge together and all of your, and then you still have a bunch of random things that don't fit. Then you can organize those by color. You don't have to use one system over the whole collection. With pre-cuts, I have bookshelves that I keep my things on. I also have some of those plastic drawer units. Some of the plastic drawer units are just kind of stuffed. I have some bigger ones that all my Christmas is together. All of my Halloween, fall, all of that is together in those drawer units. So those tend to work very, very well. Another thing that works well to keep things organized are these cubes. You can get them in a million colors, whatever. This is very, very versatile. I use these a lot with my business supplies, with my items that are for sale on the website, because it's very easy to pull this off the shelf, pull out whatever has been ordered, and get it ready to ship. But I'm going to show you some of the ways that this is so versatile. First of all, we talked about last time being a micro or a macro organizer. If you're a macro organizer, this is great to just throw in your scraps. If you've got a small piece of something, throw it in the bin. And then when you're ready to work on a scrap project, or you need one little piece of something, you can dig through here and find what you are looking for. And so this is a great way to just kind of contain all of that without it being in 14 different places. Also 10-inch squares. A lot of times when I have bits and pieces left over, I'll cut them into 10-inch squares or 2.5-inch strips. So 10-inch squares fit perfectly like this, and just have a stack of them if they're leftovers and scraps and just random 10-inch squares. The other thing that I use these for is these layer cakes. If you have a ton of layer cakes and you don't know what you're going to do with them yet, they stand up and it's like a file, and you can sit here and just file through all of those. Pull it off the shelf, file through, grab the one you want to use, and put it away. If you have any yardage that goes with it, you could easily put the yardage and your layer cake inside of this bag. It doesn't fit in here, but I would keep those together. So like if you bought a layer cake and say 2 or 3 yards to use as a border or just to coordinate with it, I would put those in a bag. But if you just have single layer cakes, they fit perfectly in here. This is what I carry all of them back and forth. That's how I store them on my bookshelf. This is how I carry them back and forth to the shows. I can just take this out, put it in a tub, and get it to the show or the class or whatever I'm doing. So the other option is, let me grab this. So these are 1-yard cuts, and they're folded a certain way. These also fit in here, and you can put two stacks in it. It'll stack 2. And you fill up both sides, and then all of your fabric, it's not going to get knocked over. It's not going to get, and you can just reach in here, pull out the one that you want. But you can see what is here. If you're worried about dust and things like that, you can always stand it up on the bookshelf. These fit where they only have about 1 inch, enough room for it to breathe, but not a lot of dust gets on them. And so these are perfect. If you're not worried about seeing it, if you don't want to see it, stand it up, put a label on it that these are 1-yard cuts. Pull it out, same thing, file through, get what you want, and put it away. So these are very, very, very useful. You can also keep your pre-cut bundles. These are fat 8s. I've got fat quarters here. You can also keep them in here. It's just totally up to you. This is something that I found at Target, and this is what I started keeping my pre-cuts in on my business shelf. I had been looking for a while for bins that would stack without needing a lid. So these have a little bit of a lip on the bottom of them. I found these at Target. They have a bunch of different sizes. So there's this one. There's one that's half this size. There's shorter ones. It just depends. So I can actually put this here and here. I can still see what's in the, I know these are pre-cuts, and I can pull it off the shelf again, grab what I need, put it back. These I really like because I can see them, but they don't look messy. Also, 2 of these stack perfectly on my shelves. And so I feel like there's a lot less wasted space. So you can, I put fat quarters, fat eighths, all of those kinds of things. I have notions in some of these, some of the smaller ones. I have like the marking utensils. I have patterns in some of them. I have a big one like this that has all my pre-cut stabilizers in it. And so it just, these just seem to work well. They are, I think these were about $6 a piece. So they are kind of an investment, but if you have the money, buy a few at a time. That's kind of what I've done. I've bought 3 or 4 at a time, and I'll continue to, because these are perfect for probably 75% of what I need to store for my shop. So I just like these. The smaller, the different sizes are different prices, but I want to say these big ones were only like $5 or $6 or $6 or $7. And again, these were at Target. The brand is Bright Room. So I think it's their brand. It's specific to them. But for fat quarters, if you're a person that just likes to collect fat quarters and then figure out what you're going to do with them later, this is what I found at IKEA. This does have a lid. I have a couple of them. They stack. These are easy for me to put out at shows because all I need to do is take the lid off. But they're also great to store at home. There is about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of space on the top, but you could always lay things on top if you want to. But I've got my fat quarters in here, folded, organized. Those are not the same size. You can kind of see here, again, I can file through, grab the one that I want, and move on. These just keep them from getting dusty. Heaven forbid you should have a water leak or something. It'll keep them dry, that kind of thing. And again, if you want to just use every inch of the space, you can always just throw some on top. Smaller pieces of scraps. If I have bigger pieces of scraps, I'll fold them. Again, I don't always bag them if I only have 1 or 2. But if it's something that I just picked up, I picked something up here because I liked it, I bought a yard, or I just have a little bit left over from something. I have organized my little scraps, my smaller pieces, by color. I have a bin for each color, blue, red, yellow, whatever. These are kind of pinks and reds, and you can get as detailed as you want to. When I know that I need a specific color, this is a good place. If I just need a small piece especially, this is a good place for me to just come and grab. If you have, so I made a wedding quilt for my son and daughter-in-law. After when they got married, we had people sign signature blocks at the wedding, and then we had fabric pieces on the table underneath the centerpieces. Well, I cut those up and I used them, and I made them a quilt that was all from the wedding. Well, this is what I have left over. Obviously, this is too big to go in a bag. I do have a project in mind for the rest of the scraps for my daughter-in-law, but I have not gotten to that yet. So I keep this, and it does have a lid. I just don't have it sitting here. I keep this because it's such a large amount. I do keep this all together in this bin. So bins, baskets, bags, any object that will collect. If you have cardboard boxes and you want to fold the flaps inside or even cut them off, you can use cardboard boxes. Whatever you want to use to organize your fabric is fine. My suggestion is come up with a system, figure out what works for you. Are you visual? Are you not? Don't go out and buy $300 worth of bins and baskets and things to put them in. A lot of times you can get cheap things, these little deals at Walmart around the time that school starts. They're usually pretty cheap. You can get like 5 of them for a couple of dollars. Look at these kinds of things. These are great for catching little pieces, but they're also great for when I'm working on something. I have some that were leftover 2.5-inch squares from this baby quilt that I'm working on right now. Those are all in one of these over on the other side of the room. And then, but these are just good little, but just try little things. And you don't have to go in and overhaul and make it all pretty at one time. Try something, see if it works. Try something else. Make small changes at a time. I have not actually had a chance to go through and pull about once a year, pull everything out, go through it all, sort it and organize and that kind of thing, and just kind of refresh my mind of what I have. And so that's on the agenda for soon, just not today. So I hope that maybe this has given y'all some good ideas, some at least things to think about, and all of that kind of fun stuff. So again, don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel, like, share, tell your friends about it. The website to shop and buy the bags and other things is AuntReesQuiltShop.com. You can find me on Facebook at Aunt Rees Quilt Shop, and Ree is REE''S. So Aunt Rees Quilt Shop, and you can find me there. I hope y'all have a great week and a great weekend. I will see you later. Bye.